they're not going to bring you anybody that is shit. Okay? And there is so much shit country. I'm not saying what I am or what I'm not. But I'm just saying, I want you to pay attention. If Rogue picks them to come here, then come and check them out. Even if you've never heard of them, just because you hadn't heard of them doesn't mean they're very successful, and it doesn't mean that they're not badass, all right? So please, follow Rogue, get on the internet, get on the Instagram and all the Facebook, and pay attention to who they have coming over here, because this is just a couple of guys who believe in it. And they're booking my hotels, they're getting us from place to place, setting up the PAs, and doing all of it for the love of country music so that you can have a chance to come out here on a Saturday night. And that is everything.
What is going on, you rogues, rebels, and renegades? It's actually happening. We have done consistent episodes. I hope you enjoyed the Walker Text episode last month. This month we have Susannah Clegg, the up-and-coming trailblazer from the Northwest. You do not want to miss her. She is on tour throughout all of February and March, it seems. She's just done a killer tour with John R. Miller. She's on a Northern Songbird Tour in February, so I'm going to drop some dates on you guys right now. On February 18th, she is in Stoke-on-Trent. On February 27th, it is the Northern Songbirds Tour in Wigan. On Sunday, March 1st, it is in Lancaster. On March 4th, it is in York. On March 7th, she is playing with our friends the Hen House Presents Hi Tanya with Amelia Quinn and Sophie Rose in Earlham, Manchester. And on March 8th, she is in Liverpool as part of the Northern Songbirds Tour. And most importantly, sorry Tanya, she is opening the show for Ags Connolly for Rogue Country Presents at the Swinging Arm in Birkenhead. We can't wait. And that was one of the things we had spoken about when we took a break in 2025 was, what are we going to fucking do in 2026? Are we going to disappear? Are we going to fade into the abyss? Or are we going to, come back and put on some of the best country music shows we can? And when we were talking about the latter and putting on some of the best country shows we can, Clegg's name was at the forefront and at the very top of our list of artists we wanted to work with this year. We're stoked that she agreed to open the show for Ags Connolly on March 18th in Birkenhead at the Swinging Arm. We cannot wait for that show. Tickets are going fast. And we hope you will join us to keep country music happening in the UK. We get into a really good talk about country music in the UK with Susannah. It's a really interesting chat today. And yeah, this is a really fun talk. It's good to be back. It's good to try and be consistent. It's good to have some guests booked in and actually have people to chat to and have fun chats, which is also the main thing. So, without further ado, let's get down to it. This is episode 77 of the Rogue Country Podcast with Mike West and Susannah Clegg. Cool. Well, thanks so much for making the time to do this. I know you're super busy from like January through to March, like all the tour dates you've got. It's awesome.
Yeah, I like to gig a lot, so but yeah, it's good to have a chat.
Yeah, how was the John R. Miller? Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, amazing to watch him perform and like very cool crowds and stuff. So yeah, it was a really fun experience. It's really lucky to get the gigs. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I saw you did a poster. It was like seeing Townes Van Zandt without the bad parts.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that on stage and then I kind of like realized what I'd said. And then everyone laughed at me. But yeah, it's such an amazing songwriter and like performer, and like I'm a big fan of Townes Van Zandt, and I think he sort of carries the torch for that sort of kind of writing. But there's no like heroin abuse or anything. So it's like, what if it was good to watch?
Yeah, and hopefully it continues and stays on that track. But that's what I do like about John's stuff, is there's like the subtlety to the lyrics that like Townes and like Guy Clark and those type of guys really were able to do so well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like storytelling in songs, and I mean they're all just the best at it. It's you can't really beat them in terms of that kind of writing.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
let's go to your origin story and stuff. When did you kind of first discover country music and pick up a guitar? Were they kind of at the same time, or what did you find first?
Um, I kind of I remember my dad like showing me Johnny Cash and stuff when I was a kid, but I don't I wasn't really raised in like a super country listening household.
Mm,
My dad's a big fan of the blues, but it's more like Rory Gallagher and that
mm,
sort of rockier stuff.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, like he taught me a bit of guitar when I was young, but I didn't really get like I'm hesitant to say good because I don't know if I am a good guitarist, but I sort of didn't really try and learn how to actually play it
Mm,
until about like 3 years ago now.
mm.
Because like basically I just didn't want to be the worst guitarist in the room. So it was something that like I tried to focus on trying to like learn how to play like other like in the same sort of vein that other people can play in. I'm no Paul Armour, but
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
he's
crazy
amazing.
to like the levels or like the spectrum of guitarists. Like
Mm.
I don't think I'm a particularly good guitarist. I'm okay. But then there are people like Paul and there's like Chris Dover and there's folks like that like Ashley Harden who are just insane on guitar. And my
Yeah,
brain just can't I just can't do it.
yeah. I think like I I know I could get better, but I just hate practicing.
Yeah.
So um, it's it's something I should probably do. Um, I think I'm quite lucky because there's not a lot of female performers who try and learn lead stuff more.
Mm.
Um, so I look quite good in comparison to like people who don't play instruments and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm nowhere near like the people who are very good at their instruments.
Yep.
But yeah, I got into country properly. Probably like 6 years. Like I always liked it, but like I sort of focused on it more about 6 years ago
Mm.
because I met my boyfriend and he and his sister and her partner were in like a kind of bluegrass Americana country like band. And then I joined them and they knew a lot more about the genre and knew a lot
Mm.
more about sort of like the more niche figures because obviously like everyone knows about Dolly and Johnny Cash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found about Townsend Zant and Guy Clark and like Willie Watson, um, and sort of spiraled from there.
Mm. No,
Yeah,
awesome. And like going back to the guitar, I've literally just been listening to your EP in preparation for us chatting today again. And there's the little run you do on it's either Walk This Road or End of the World. Well, I was like, that's a tasty
yeah,
little
Walk
lick.
This Road, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, it's just like the G run thing. I use it a
Mhm.
lot because
Yeah.
I love it. I love hearing it in other songs. I think it's really fun, um, but it's also quite easy to learn. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, I think it just adds a little flourish to the
Hmm.
end of stuff, and I really like that.
Yeah. And like looking kind of like obviously I went on like your about on your bio and stuff, and you mentioned Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who is like one
Yeah,
of the best lead guitarists and creator of rock and roll in my opinion. And she did it with such like a style and an identity that you don't see in rock and blues, which is a shame. But she's absolutely incredible, and I think that is a thing where you just love to see kind of women and people who aren't in that space doing that type of thing and showing that it can and should be done and it can be like appreciated and loved by everyone.
yeah, I'm a big fan of her. I think As well, her vocals are just insane. Like, I think they get overlooked
Mm.
because of how like influential and original she was with guitar, but everything about her is just amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's definitely an influence. But again, I don't really practice guitar enough to achieve her sort of like anywhere near her. But yeah, she's just so cool.
Yeah. No, that's the hard thing. And like I like technically I'm a grade 8th on guitar because I have a degree in it, and I did practice at one point to the point where I could do like Ozzy Osbourne, like Randy Rhoads stuff. And the second I didn't have to do it anymore, it just flew out my fucking head. And I just never practiced. And I always remember reading about like Eddie Van Halen. Like his brother would go to school and Eddie wouldn't, and he'd be sat on his guitar on his bed with his guitar and like a pack of cigarettes, and then he'd come back and he wouldn't have moved, but the pack of cigarettes would be gone. And I don't have that discipline or thing to like sit down and practice. I don't know if you're the same, where it's like if you sit down to practice, you just end up writing a song.
Yeah, I think like I don't think many people do. I think that's why we have grades, because
Mm.
it's only the people that are dedicated enough to sort of achieve their potential. But like I I think because I like just live performance a lot. Like when I recorded my EP, it was all done live, and hopefully the stuff I record in the future will also be that way. Like I kind of like when a song comes out the way that it comes out. Um, and obviously you have to practice a little bit to make sure that you can do that. But I think I don't know, I just find it really boring, and I'm not sort of disciplined enough to get over that and improve myself, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's so hard. Like if someone hands me scales, my brain just shuts down.
Yeah, like some I've kind of learned by accident. Like I mostly play by ear, so I know where stuff is because I've practiced. But yeah, like I don't know the scales on guitar at least.
No, but I was going to ask about your EP, obviously The Road Is Only Miles, because it sounded like you did it live with just kind of vocals and guitar, which shows your strength in both, to be honest. Like I think it's a really strong EP. You're a really strong singer, really great guitar player, so don't worry about those things. But
Thank you.
with the recording of it, did you do it kind of just in one take at the same time, or how did you record the EP?
Um, so I recorded at a studio kind of in Stockport, which is where I'm from originally, called High Peak Studio, High Peak Recordings, I think. And yeah, basically we sort of mic'd my guitar, and then I just played the songs like 2 or 3 times. Like one was a warm-up take, and then usually the second or third we were happy with. Yeah, because basically like my aim for it, as well as like not just like releasing music and stuff, but I wanted it to sound like how I sound. So I could send it to people and say, this is how I sound, please hire me to play for you. Rather than like necessarily them being, I don't know, like the most final version of a song that it could be. So maybe I'll revisit some of them in the future. But like, yeah, it was very much intentionally supposed to sound live and like authentic to my actual performance. So I'm glad that it comes across that way.
Oh, cool. And when did you start? Because obviously this came out in 2025. First, what was February, I think.
Yeah, it's just
A
just
year
had its
today, or a
anniversary.
year this week. Amazing.
Yeah, on the 1st,
Yeah.
which I picked kind of randomly, but it was a good day. Apparently, it's National Yorkshire Pudding Day.
No way.
So.
With the songwriting of those, when did you start writing these songs? When did the idea kind of come to start this project and start going out live and stuff?
I guess I didn't really think about it in terms of a project. I don't really sort of intentionally think about the larger result, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but um, I think so. One of the songs, "End of the World," I actually wrote for the band that I had when I was at uni, which was a bit more like, it wasn't an indie band, but it was more like it started out with me and like one of my best friends. We kind of wanted to be the Civil Wars. Um, and then we sort of added a band around that. So it was still sort of like Americana-y, like gothic, dark gothic country sort of stuff. But then like we all left uni and the band split up. But I had that song that we hadn't used yet. So that's probably the oldest one. And that, I can't remember how long ago that was. And then the other ones, I don't really know. Colorado, I guess I wrote after I'd been to Colorado.
That was going to be one of my questions as well.
Yeah, we went to go to Telluride Bluegrass Festival.
Oh, amazing!
Which was very cool. And then I had like a gig. There's like an original music night that is one of like the cool nights that we have in Lancaster, which is where I live, which is kind of like a very supportive music scene. But at the time I felt I didn't have like all the songs I needed to to play that night, and then I kind of just like sat down and instantly wrote that one, and then I was like, oh, that's the best song I've ever written. So yeah, I don't know, like I can't actually remember what your question was.
Just kind of when you started writing these songs and what kind of inspired you to take it live, because it's hard to, because this is a thing I've been kind of grappling with, is it a project or is it me? And it's like, how do you separate the two when you're talking about like the thing? So I've been referring to like the Mike West project as a project just to kind of give it a sense of time and space in and of itself, because I've been playing guitar since I was 12, but I've not been doing this since it's a really weird thing to kind of view your music and your songs as different things, and I think it's a really weird kind of thing to grapple with, but it's interesting when life or your perspective shifts to when you write these songs and when you start wanting to put them out and perform live as this kind of, again for lack of a better word, project.
Yeah, okay. So I guess like the Susannah Clegg project came about because the band that I mentioned before, the one with my boyfriend and his sister and her partner, we had to take a little hiatus because Lynn, who's the banjo and double bass player, and Jacob, who plays a fiddle, and they both moved to Indonesia for like 2 years, I think, which meant didn't really have an opportunity to do any gigs. Although actually we did play some in Indonesia.
No way.
Eventually. Yeah. So I kind of had to like go alone in order to keep playing. My boyfriend's a chef, so he's very busy, which means like we couldn't really play together as much either. So that's kind of why I started the Susannah Clegg project. But yeah, I think, I don't know if I like necessarily, I think like the songs I write kind of come out the way they come out. And like sometimes I'll try and write more intentionally in the country genre, like some of the newer songs that aren't out yet are definitely more like country. But I think like the other song being written for a completely different band, like it just comes from me, I guess. I don't really think about it differently. Just try and write a good song and hopefully it like fits.
Yeah. No, that's always the main thing. But going back, so you went and played gigs in Indonesia.
Yeah.
What were they like? What was the reaction to it there?
To be honest, it wasn't very different from just like a pub gig here. Like some people were into it, some people weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun to do, and I don't think they get much bluegrass there, so something a bit different.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
So you can add international artists onto your resume.
yeah, I guess so.
I'm with,
Yeah,
because like I went from like a thrash band in my 20s with my brother-in-law and stuff. So again, it was like a family thing to this, like to doing it solo. Were there any nerves or like apprehension when you kind of stepped into playing on your own at these shows, or was there a different mindset going into it that you kind of grappled with?
yeah, I was terrified at the start because I was so uncomfortable with playing the guitar because I didn't really play like I don't think I ever played the guitar live
Hmm.
in front of people um until I started doing this, because I've always been a singer and that's fine. I'm not worried about that. Like I'm confident in my abilities there. Um, but yeah, when I started having to play guitar, I used to feel sick. And that's not like I don't usually get stage fright.
Hmm.
So yeah, that it was a transition for sure.
And when did you start playing solo? Because I'm like the way you came onto my radar was you did a few shows with kind of Jackson Ward up in
Mm,
Preston and stuff like that. So I think was that like 2024-ish or
I think
2025?
I think yeah, it must have been 24. I'm really bad with years, but
But it's been about 2 years of you kind of doing.
yeah, I kind of went like full time April last year, and I was doing it about a year before then, just sort of like as like an extra thing that I wanted to do, but like couldn't afford to. And I still really can't afford to, but I decided it was more important
Yeah.
to have fun.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
so yeah, I guess about 2 years.
Mm. Yeah, and going like obviously full time as a musician is like a massive thing because then not only does it give you time to like write and stuff, but obviously you can open up more gig opportunities. So that was it kind of again nerve-wracking to take that leap into being a full-time musician because a lot of people aren't, they have to do part-time jobs or whatever on the side to kind of keep it going. So it's always cool when someone takes that step and dedicates themselves in that way to this.
Yeah, I think I'm in a very lucky position because I keep talking about my boyfriend, but like he works like full time,
Mm,
and basically like if I didn't have him and that sort of support network, I wouldn't be able to do that. Because like he is very supportive and um like he really wants me to succeed
mm,
because he also like loves the music as well and like believes in my music. So he's willing to sort of like take the hit
mm,
in order to like allow me to see what I can do with it.
yeah,
And then hopefully one day, I'll be like a billionaire and
yeah,
provide for him. But
yeah.
yeah, I think if it was just me, like I don't know how people can do it.
No.
Just like it must be even harder than it is.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And like I only do this. I still have a full-time job and stuff, and everything I get to do is because of like how amazing like my wife is in supporting me and looking after the kid and keeping everything locked down at home while I go and perform for strangers for claps. But it's a crazy kind of thing to have. But having that kind of supportive partner who gets it is such like an incredible gift and an incredible like motivator as well because you feel like you can take those risks and you know play.
Yeah, and especially like he's a musician as well, so he kind of like he gets it. I think
Mm.
like um it's yeah, it's just really nice. Yeah, it's I think in some ways like today like you do need that kind of support, whether it's like your parents or your
Yeah.
partner or something like a mysterious benefactor.
Yeah.
Like I think it must be impossible to like because even with an income that's like more than you can get from being a musician. Like there's still like a lot of sacrifices and stuff. Like if we had kids and stuff, then I don't know how I would do it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. And like I saw, because obviously Ireland have started universal basic income for artists, so that's giving them that opportunity. And then there was kind of articles about how the Rolling Stones and Black Sabbath back in the 60s and 70s were on kind of the dole, and the Beatles were on the dole as well. So that again allowed them that opportunity to do that, where it's just not the case in this day and age to be able to do that. And I think it's a really interesting perspective of them, what art comes to the forefront, and it'll be interesting with what Ireland's doing, what art comes out of there, and who's creating that art and stuff. I think it's a really cool time to kind of see what people are going to produce.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that they've started doing that. So I think like in Ireland and like Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland, like I think there is more of a tradition still of like folk adjacent music as well. So I think even though like England probably has the most funding, not that there's a lot, like we still kind of don't really support our musicians in the same way unless you play like, I guess whatever's popular at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's a hard one, and like, you know, I think was it like 6,000 people in the music industry lost their jobs in the last year or so through like the Music Venue Trust reports and stuff, and it's such an undervalued and underfunded thing here. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like I was actually looking at like funding that you can get for projects and stuff yesterday, and it's very cool that they exist. And there was one that was like, this is for people who don't live in London, who like face barriers because of where they live. And then like where I live was not even on the radar for that. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I think it's very weird considering how successful music has been as an export culturally, that we've just sort of abandoned it as a nation.
It's infuriating and crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, obviously looking at funding for projects and things, you obviously have an album that you want to kind of follow up with this. And again, you said you wanted to keep it live again, but would you want to bring in more of a band, or what's your kind of vision for the next Susannah Clegg project?
So yeah, I've actually got some studio time booked in the summer, so hopefully it will be not too long. But yeah, I'm hoping to bring in some double bass and banjo and fiddle. Excuse me, just getting over an illness. Yeah, so it'll be a slightly bigger sound, but still hopefully live, if we can make that work, and still like more on the, I guess, I don't want to say looser because that sounds like we don't care, but like not overproduced, I guess, kind of way. And yeah, maybe we'll revisit some of the older songs as well and do like band versions of that, because I've been playing a few of them out, and it sounds really cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, awesome. And with taking those songs, is it then, do you have an idea for the arrangement going into the band setting, or do you see what those folks are going to come up with and how they can kind of lift those songs up?
Yeah, I rely pretty heavily on those guys to to do that for me. I'm probably the worst band leader in the world. Like I have to, so it's with Lynn and Jacob, who are in the other band as well again. I have to get Lynn to listen for me, because when we're playing together, like I'm not listening at all. Like it's really bad. But luckily they're very good musicians and like are happy to sort of, you know, do the heavy lifting when it comes to, because like I don't know how to play the fiddle. I don't, like, I can say if I like something or not, but yeah, it's 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 not the easiest job being in my band.
No. Yeah. No, I'm exactly the same way. I have like three geniuses playing with me, and I say in every show, if there's any mistakes, it's going to be me. And it is just kind of, they know what's happening. I'll try my best to listen and remember the timings of things. But what happens, happens, and I'm sorry in advance.
Yeah, I think like I can sometimes try and bring like something I like in another song and be like, do that,
Yeah.
like, but not that, make it new. But that's like the extent of my input, which I think must be frustrating for them. But you know, it sounds cool, so clearly it works.
I think it's hard, and that's the kind of the interesting kind of thing as, you know, the quote unquote band leader, is you want to push the songs forward with your kind of vision. But you, again, if you don't know those instruments, you don't know what the potential or the opportunities are. So it is
Mm.
having that availability and that opportunity to leave it as open to interpretation as possible, because that's where the kind of the gold is created. And with, from my perspective as well, as I don't want these guys to leave me, so I need it to be fun and interesting for them, so they don't get bored and sick of me.
Yeah, I think I would like to be kind of like those like musical genius like auteurs
Mm.
that can just like they know what they want from every aspect of it, but I'm not. I just like doing my bit, and I like it when the other instruments are there as well. Um, but yeah, maybe it's something I'll get better at. I guess it's a skill that you have to learn. But yeah, hopefully they don't get sick of it.
I don't think they will. And saying, you know, you've been writing more songs, not necessarily with it being more country man, but that's just how they're coming out. Is there anyone, because obviously you've touched on like Willie Watson and stuff, was there anyone that's been an influence on that kind of trajectory going forward?
Yeah, so I'm a huge Sierra Farrell fan,
Mm.
like which I think anyone who's seen me live can probably tell. Like, I think I hope we have kind of similar voices. So I think
Mm.
the stuff that she's done that I kind of learned from. Um, I really like Brennan Lee and Melissa Carper.
Yeah.
I think they are very cool. Um, and also kind of keeping it alive a bit, the sort of like Western swing, but also the more traditional country stuff as well. And also like it's very cool that there's so many really, really good women
Yeah.
who I can find inspiration from. Because I kind of used to be more like I used to prefer male voices um for whatever reason. But I think since sort of getting more into country and like the surrounding genres, like I just really like a lot of female artists.
Yeah.
I think like maybe sometimes they feel a bit more innovative in a way. I don't
Mm.
know. Um, Obviously like Gillian Welsh, and David Rawlings are amazing. I feel like probably everyone has been influenced by them.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think those are probably the main ones.
No, cool.
But
I think
I
it
like
is.
listening to new music as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, there is such a wealth of kind of different voices coming through country as well. Because obviously, kind of back in the day, you had kind of Patsy, Dolly, Loretta, Tammy. You had like a strong bunch, but it feels like there's a lot more coming through at the moment with such a diverse. Obviously, you've got Sierra Farrell and kind of Bella White. I love as well, like her albums and her
Yeah,
kind of stylings and voices so unique and interesting, that there's so much cool stuff coming from all different angles that, you know, it is really a great kind of time to be a woman in the genre, but also support those voices because it's just incredible music.
yeah. I think I feel quite lucky to have sort of got into it now. I know a lot of people who've been into it since basically birth, and then kind of like had to wait this long for it to revitalize itself
Yeah.
a bit. But yeah, it's a very inspiring time, I think. And it's also really nice that there is an audience
Yeah.
at the moment. Um, which like even like Tyler Childers is like obviously like an amazing songwriter and stuff. But he's like gone to even like the next level,
Yeah.
even from being like the top of his game, like within I guess the smaller community.
Yeah.
But it feels
No.
like everyone kind of knows who he is now,
Yeah, it's crazy.
which
I
feels
know.
weird.
Yeah, we put a post up about it the other day because obviously he won the Grammy. And
Yeah.
at the same time, it popped up on my Facebook memories. We saw him in a basement in Manchester with like 40 people in 2018, I think. And then, this time he's playing in Manchester. It's the AO Arena, which is like 23,000
Yeah.
seats. So, to see that jump is absolutely insane. And it's so kind of heartening. And you do really hope as a UK artist and supporter of the UK scene that's hopefully going to trickle down and spill out into the smaller venues with the smaller artists.
Mm. Yeah, I would love for like UK artists to be taken seriously as well.
The dream.
Because like, well, obviously, yeah, like it's a very controversial opinion, I know, but I hope people like my music. Um, but yeah, like I think like Jack Browning posted the other day about people telling him that like uh if you had like an American postcode or whatever, people would care more
Mm.
and but like no one will take you seriously because you're British. And it's like why? You
Yeah.
know, like I think because it's such a like it's a genre that is sort of built on a myth
Yeah.
anyway.
That's
That
an
like
interesting perspective. That's cool.
yeah, like the sort of like cowboy or gunslinger thing, like Marty Robbins wasn't doing that, you know?
Mm.
He was just singing about it. And like also I think like the thing when people get confused about why you would sing in an accent, like I don't know, I've never listened to the blues and heard it in an English accent or like you know
Mm.
maybe that's just me not listening to music enough but to me it's like it's part of playing the instrument that is your voice like making it sound right and just
Mm.
because someone is not American anyway
Yeah.
like I don't think it's necessarily like something that should affect whether you like their music or not
No.
if that I don't know if that makes sense I feel like I didn't say that very clearly but
No, no, I think that's very, very. I really like that point of it being like based on a myth. I think it's an interesting one because you realize how kind of not bullshit because it's still cool and there's truth to it from like the Western films and stuff like those things didn't
mm,
really happen, but it's so ingrained into that culture that I do think that like US fans and a lot of people see UK people as kind of cosplayers of this, but
mm-hmm.
it's all based on cosplaying in a way because they didn't really kind of meet at high noon to do shootouts across the town. There's none of that kind of thing. That again, that was created by the media and films and stuff to look cool. So I
Yeah,
think that's a really interesting point where it's like I don't know how you can kind of show the validity of UK country artists to Americans because there is just that kind of we're on the back foot as cosplayers, which is a hard thing to
mm,
see. And I don't know what the kind of the win over is except in the music. But then I think even then like some people do just kind of dismiss it. And it is a hard one to kind of reckon with and kind of get the because I 100% believe if you or Ags Connolly or myself or whoever was an American, we'd be bigger than we are. We'd be kind of but obviously America has a lot more opportunities and things. So I think it's a really interesting and hard thing to grapple with being a UK country artist. And it's yeah. There's
yeah,
no kind of legacy for UK country artists because you see kind of how Willie Nelson would take Charlie Crockett on tour. Charlie Crockett would take, you know, Vincent Neil Emerson on tour. Vincent would, and you can see that kind of going down the line and paying it forward, where the opportunities are so few and far between over here that like you can't really get that.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. Do you think it will get worse because there is kind of an appetite now? Like maybe it's worth bringing over a US support rather than using someone from the UK.
I think that was always a risk because I remember obviously Tyler would bring the local honeys over. He brought the local honeys over for the
Mm.
first two tours. Coulter Wall brought over Ian No over. So they've always kind of that's been the
Yeah,
main thing. Like even Tyler Childers brought John R. Miller over initially, and that was why
yeah, I saw that one.
yeah, that's why we started as Rogue Country booking gigs because we knew by the time a tour poster was released on social media, the support acts were already spoken for. So we knew if we started being involved in those conversations of bringing people over, we could then manipulate them into having UK artists,
Yeah,
which is how we got Josh Bettis opening for Sierra Ferrell,
yeah,
which is fucking insane. That shouldn't have happened, but we're really glad it did.
yeah. I was
Um,
at that gig.
were you? Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember that,
Yeah.
and
Did you
it's
get to
very
meet her
cool.
at the end of it?
Yeah, I've got the world's like most awkward photo. Um, so I don't know if I'll ever reveal it, but
You have to. I'll include it on this as a part of the thumbnail. But that was the thing we had to we realized was, to get into those conversations and to get those opportunities, because I don't think UK artists are ever going to have the respect or validity without those support slots. You need that kind of connection, I think.
yeah,
Um, because that's just kind of how it's always been done. Even I was listening to like an old Cocaine and Rhinestones episode where like, Ernest Tubb would take George Jones on the road and stuff like that. Like that is the way to get ears on and eyes on you is opening for those type of artists. So it's how did the UK artists create those opportunities and things, because otherwise we're just kind of playing pubs and hoping people show up. You need that kind of buy-in, and I don't know what the answer is to it because we've been putting shows on since for like 7 years now, and
mm,
that is the thing. When we book tours and we book shows, we push for UK openers, but I don't know what the kind of answer or silver bullet would be to kind of create that validity. But even you look at old bands from like the 60s and 70s, like there's a local Liverpool band called Phil Brady and the Ranchers, and they like opened for Willie Nelson. They did songs with him over in Nashville. They opened for Buck Owens in Liverpool, but they've kind of faded into history as well. They didn't get kind of the respect they should have got. But
mm.
I just don't know what the answer is with the UK scene. It's really weird.
Yeah. I think like there seems to be a lot of opportunity in maybe like the more pop side because I have
Yeah.
a few friends who like are more on that side of the scene,
Mm.
and I don't know like why that is, but um, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting the difference there.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I know someone told me um like that they'd told some of their like American friends that I was opening for John R. Miller, and then they were kind of like, "Oh, you have that kind of country in the UK," and they were like surprised by that.
Yeah.
So maybe like we just don't have enough PR, but
No, we really don't. And that's the thing we've been trying to push is to be like, hey, we do this shit too.
yeah,
But because pop country is so massive and encapsulating, because even a lot of UK fans, they only care about Luke Combs, they only care about Morgan Wallen, they only care about those acts which aren't us.
yeah,
So if you're not those guys and you're not a tribute act of those guys, then you've got kind of no hope of winning them over. So it is showing that kind of, quote unquote, real country, the neo traditional, the more roots based stuff and showing that we have that scene here. But I was talking to Paul about it on the last episode of this, where again we don't have the one kind of cemented scene here to
Mm.
show that. It's the UK is so kind of fractured and big that we have like pockets, but there's not a cohesive thing outside of maybe Sheffield with what kind of Fargo, Dover, and like those kind of guys are doing. But the
Yeah.
Northwest does have a fucking ton of incredible artists like yourself that is around there, but I just don't know if it's still too disjointed to kind of
Yeah,
bring.
it's funny you say that, because I was actually thinking about it earlier, because I'm down south again this weekend. Um, and I was kind of thinking about how it sort of feels like almost like I'm more part of the community down there. Like I
Yeah,
know more people, and like have been invited to do more gigs and stuff with people who are based
yeah,
there. Like I only really know like a few people in the Northwest, and
yeah.
it's not really for lack of trying
No,
either. Um, and I guess like London's always going to have a bigger scene of anything, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's it's strange how distant everything feels in such a small country.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's got better compared to like when I started looking around and stuff in 2016, 2017. It's gotten better in terms of like a lot of people kind of have folded, which has been nice. Like a lot of people who like I just didn't like have kind of disappeared, which is awesome. Because it's kind of made room and made space for people who are actually wanting to pursue this as a real thing and pursue it for a love of it, and not just because
Mm.
they think, Sons of Anarchy and Yellowstone's so hot right now, we can capitalize on it. People are doing it because they love the music and they love the songs, and it's really nice to see that authenticity showing up
Mm-hmm.
in the last kind of 5 or so years.
Yeah, because I think like obviously a lot of people consider pop country to not be authentic, but I think the love that a lot of artists have for that is like real and as genuine
Yeah,
as like my enjoyment of something else, like, and I think that's so much more important than like anything else, is that people do care about putting out quality music
yeah,
rather than just like they want to be influencers or
yeah.
whatever. um yeah, I don't I don't really know
No, and
what my
that's the other
point
thing. I
was going to
think
be.
enjoyment's a really good word for it because I think, the pop country stuff has a broader scope for enjoyment. So it
Mm,
has a broader scope for someone doing like a Wednesday night at a beer keller and people still really digging it, as opposed to someone playing with just one guitar doing, a mix of songs that can be sad, they can be emotional, but you need to be able to kind of listen to it. While
yeah,
like pop country and stuff, it is meant to be not necessarily background noise, but it's meant to be the soundtrack to the night, I think.
yeah, and
But
it's sort of like anthemic in a way that sort of like pop, for lack of a better word,
yeah,
kind of isn't anymore. Like I think, or maybe a bit more now, but I sort of feel like that's due to the country pop
yeah,
influence.
yeah,
um but I think like pop music was pretty dire for like the last couple of
yeah,
decades, where it's supposed to be like fun
yeah,
and stuff. And I think the addition of sort of the country sound has sort of really like re-inspired people to like make music fun again.
yeah,
um so even if I like would prefer to listen to a different kind, like if it's a good song then I would like it, even if it's like the most produced thing ever, like
mm,
you know I think it's, I guess I just think that it's nice that all the different facets of the
yeah,
genre are sort of having such a moment that is actually leading to good music.
yeah. No, it is. I think fun and enjoyment, I really think, are the biggest kind of things, because that's one of the things you learn in like music marketing, and what you see like all the people kind of talk about is, music is kind of like a guilt-free drug, or like a
Mm.
kind of a consequence-free drug, where it's like it's making you feel something without a come down, or something that would actually affect you, like alcohol or whatever. So you're not selling your song, you're selling the emotion. And I think people just want to fucking party, man. People just want to be able to like have fun, especially with how the state of the world is and stuff. I don't think there's any shame in being like, do you know what? I just want to have a good time. I want to put on some decent songs and like have a barbecue and like drink and set a fire and just like chill out. And
Yeah.
that's what those type of things, and it's what you were saying about it being anthemic, I think is such the hook to it. And I think that's
Mm.
why it's on such the rise. And yeah, I don't know how that can spill out to like the more like quote unquote serious artists, or the
Mm.
artists that aren't doing that. But there's the demand for it, because obviously Tyler Childers is selling out an arena. But
Yeah.
I didn't go to the last tour he did, but John R. Miller apparently just got talked over the entire time.
Yeah, that was like what you thought.
Yeah,
But she went to the Glasgow one, um, for some reason. I can't remember why. But
mm,
yeah, the crowd was just like one of the worst crowds I've ever been
yeah.
in.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case, like across the board, which I think is people just want to go fucking White House Road, Feathered Indians, let's party. They don't
Yeah.
want to kind of have that experience, but that's not everybody. So there's got to
Mhm.
be a middle ground to it. That's the thing that like, as someone who's kind of booking shows and trying to attract audiences to these type of things, is how do you kind of sell like that? Because if I kind of sold the Ags Connolly and Susannah Clegg show as a fucking pop country Morgan Wallen esque, fuck
With a
yeah
rodeo
party,
ball.
a lot of people are going to be pissed by the time it ends. So it's how do you kind of showcase the depth and the range of the music and attract the kind of the casual fans as well, as
Yeah.
well as kind of win over the American audience who think we're cosplaying.
Yeah, it's not an easy battle.
No.
I guess I think I have hope because people do seem to care about Sierra Farrell or
Yeah,
Tyler Childers or Billy Strings. I don't know, people who are like at the top of the game,
yeah,
as well as like some of their songs are fun, but some of them are really sad.
yeah,
And people seem to be impressed by that, by like the actual talent,
yeah,
which is a good thing, I think.
yeah,
I don't know how you would market that to
yeah.
to people who weren't already into it, but
No, yeah.
I think
That's
maybe we'll get there.
yeah. I think we are, and what I've noticed is the audiences are getting like a bit younger, which is
Mm.
interesting as well, and they do seem to be like knowing what it is and what's happening and stuff. Which obviously the rise of kind of gems on VHS and Western AF, like those have helped with those type of things, and like the Nick Shoulders
Yeah.
shows were like predominantly young people. It's not as maybe academic as the old country
Mm.
shows were, and it's not as kind of an older audience, even though there's still a lot there. It's a really interesting mix at the moment. But again, if there was
Yeah, it's the John R. Miller shows like the for me quite a surprising amount of young people because most
yeah,
people at my gigs are not like in their 20s, shall
yeah,
we say. Uh, and there was like I thought that was cool because they'd like seen him support Tyler and then been surprised that they could go see him in like just in their town or whatever.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I have sort of noticed that as well, even on my sort of smaller scale
yeah,
um, gigs. Like, there's definitely an appetite, and I think as well because a lot of people have never heard or seen that kind of music before. I think like they don't know
yeah,
that they like it, or they like, so when they hear it, I think it is kind of like a gateway drug, which is a good thing. I think it can only be good.
Yeah. No, totally. And I think what you're doing, because there's the Northern Songbirds Tour at the end of the month.
Yes.
I think that's a really cool kind of opportunity and example of UK artists kind of pushing it forward and showcasing what kind of music's out there and hopefully reaching like a diverse crowd.
Yeah, it should be really fun. It came about because me and Zoe Unsworth and Amy Jo were in a songwriters round together for a thing called Live in the Living Room, which I don't know if you know it or not, in London. And then Voice of a Woman, who was the person who put together the round, asked us to do a song together. And then we just had a lot of fun doing that. So we were like, what if we did that more? Then we added Bronnie as well, who's also from the Northwest.
Yeah, she's
world
based.
Like, yeah. So it's for like Northwest artists, sort of playing like cities that are important to us. So like we've got one in Liverpool, one in Lancaster, because me and Amy Jo are both like, well, I moved here, but she's from here. Wigan, which is where Zoe's from, and then we're playing in York as well, just because we really like the venue. Awesome. And like we all have like different takes on the genre, so like I think it's going to be really interesting to sort of be exposed to each other's audiences in that way. And to sort of see how that develops. Because I think like there really is kind of something for everyone with our lineup. But yeah, I think like teaming up was kind of a good idea for us, because we're all like coming up together, and I think like no one was really doing it, and it seemed like just like it would be a lot of fun. And maybe like I have never toured as a headliner. Like I've toured the country like to do gigs, but not with like a Susannah Clegg tour. So for me, like I think some of the others, I think Amy Jo has, and I would assume that Bronnie has, like they might have already had that experience, but I haven't. So for me, it's like really nice that I can kind of do it with other people and sort of learn the ropes that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Like that's the thing. I think that's all you can do is work with like-minded people, and you know and again, it doesn't have to be in the exact same genre, because then that creates like an us and them and a diversion that just doesn't help build a scene in a way. It's a really hard kind of line to walk, but I think it's such a cool example of like inclusivity and progressiveness, as that is what the country scene needs in the UK at the moment, to kind of keep pushing it forward. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I think that divide kind of does exist, but I don't really want to do that.
No.
Because like I think there's just so much talent that it would be a shame to just write it off because I think that I'm cooler than someone, or they think they're cooler than me, or whatever. Like it's just a bit of a weird way to build a scene, like you say. And like I don't know, I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, I think like the more we work together, like the better it'll be for everyone. Like I kind of feel like maybe some people don't take me seriously because I'm not what they think of as country. And like, you know, it's definitely true from the other way around. Like a lot of people don't like the more commercial music or whatever. but I can only see that sort of hindering the UK scene really, and like I don't know, it seems a pointless waste of energy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
get I think it's so hard. Like again, I was talking to Paul about this. Is like people in the country scene or the country world, no matter where they are in the world, if they're American, the UK, whatever, they have an idea of like the country music they like, and then they think that's the only country music that exists in the world.
mm,
And I think that can be a really hard thing to have. Like I remember I opened shows for Whitney Rose, and we are not similar sounding in any way, shape, or form, and we couldn't look more different. And that was like the review I got was more commenting on my appearance than the songs. But
right.
I finally kind of won them over. And like I say on my shows, I'm like, we don't look like a country band, and we don't really sound like one, but that's what we're fucking calling ourselves because that's what we love. But
Yeah,
it's that kind of dig your heels in and stand your ground and show that this genre has that diversity and that kind of opportunity for it, that you can kind of have, four artists on a lineup that aren't the same. And also, like, why would you want to listen to four artists that are exactly the same? Like,
right.
you want that
I think
variation.
there's a lot about like some. I don't want to be specific, but like you see like festivals or whatever,
Mm,
and then a lot of them just have the exact same lineup,
yeah.
and I like those artists or whatever. And I don't think this is a UK specific problem. I think like maybe it's just how the industry works, and I just don't understand it properly. But like I kind of would rather have the option of like have like just I would like to go to a festival and see those people, but I don't want to go to every festival
No.
and see the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And I get that people are on tour or whatever and it lines up that way, but I don't know, it seems kind of short sighted
Yeah.
to me.
That's what I think the UK country scene suffered from, especially in the early, like from 2016 to kind of before COVID. It was all the same artists on all the same lineups. Why would you pay to go to these different things? And then
Yeah.
also, a lot of those artists were doing free gigs locally at pubs and stuff. So again, why would you pay for a ticket to go see
Mm.
these folks? And again, like I said, like a lot of them have fucking disappeared, which in a way is awesome because it frees the space up and makes the lineups a lot more kind of loose now, and a lot of more acts are coming up like yourself that are taking those spots, and that's a really positive thing that I can see from those kind of folks who have folded. And they're popping up and doing whatever, but it's created that breath and that space where there's a lot more interesting stuff happening now with like especially like kind of after COVID, there's been a whole crop of new artists that have come up kind of organically and randomly that have taken the
Mm.
scene by storm a bit, like yourself, Paul, Dom Glynn, and it's really benefiting the scene in a really healthy way that I really think is really cool.
Yeah. I do think like maybe COVID kind of caused that. I don't know. Like I not consciously thought about it, but I graduated from uni um or from my undergrad. Like my last year was the year COVID hit and like all the
Really?
lockdowns and stuff. So like that wasn't great. But if it had been normal
Yeah.
and I graduated and I don't know, got a job or whatever, like maybe I would never have decided to like actually pursue music.
Yeah.
Because like that was always what I wanted to do, but like it's very easy to talk yourself out of
Yeah.
taking a risk. So maybe that like contributed more than we know.
Mm.
But I do think that's kind of a problem in music generally. Like um there's a lot of like legacy acts.
Yeah.
Um like especially like bands and stuff in the UK. Like
Mm.
that's like rock and indie, like is what we were good at, it's what we were known for. And now it's still like the same
Yeah.
bands that got big in the noughties
Yeah.
as like the most new music that we've got. And
Yeah.
like
It's crazy.
it's reflected in like covers and stuff. Like if you go in a pub or whatever, like everyone's like the newest song people are playing is from like 2010.
Yeah, everyone's still absolutely buzzing to hear Mr. Brightside at any point.
Yeah. So I do think like it's maybe that's what's refreshing about country as well, is that like we've not, that is new to us as a country. Even like the old stuff, like people discovering, I don't know, like Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
Like, I knew people that didn't know Wagon Wheel who are now like country fans and like love the genre and stuff. But that was in the space of like 3 years. So yeah, I think, I don't know. I don't know how to finish that thought.
No, I think that is like the interesting thing is like we're at the kind of the peak of a wave, or the beginning of a wave, which is obviously where all the fuck yeah party anthems are like kind of hitting, and everyone's like, yes, that's amazing, this is what I'm about. And then as time will go on, they discover the other artists and the other opportunities and the other kind of genres and things. And I think that will be really interesting to see where we are in another 5 or so years, because so much has already changed in the last 10 that it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it definitely feels like people. Sorry, my dog's just arrived. It feels like people at the moment, like with politics and everything going on in the world, like a lot of people are always saying stuff like, oh, you know, things are bad in the world when folk music is good. So I guess if there's one good thing about all that, is that people are looking for deeper meaning in art and stuff. So yeah, I feel like it's not peaked yet, I hope.
No, not in any stretch or form yet.
Yeah. So but it's interesting to see like people who I've sort of like been coming up alongside, like booking like, I don't know, European tours or stuff like that. Which like 2 years ago to me felt inconceivable. But now it's like, oh, people really do like it.
Yeah.
And they still like it even if it is from the UK. Like that's good.
Yeah. No, it is. I think this is a really exciting time. Obviously now COVID's kind of gone. You can tour Europe again, and there is that. Europe's incredible for touring for country music. They'll love you over there. Like it's such like a welcomed kind of breath of fresh air to the UK scene, or at least what the UK scene was pre-COVID. So
I've heard lots of good things about that. So hopefully,
hopefully it'll be on the horizon.
Yeah, I would like that.
And there we have it, folks. That is episode 77 of the Rogue Country Podcast in the bag. Thank you so much, Susannah, for making the time. Do not miss our opening the show on March 18th at the Swinging Arm in Birkenhead with Ags Connolly. You can also catch her on the Northern Songbirds Tour, which is with Amy, Joe, Bronnie and Zoe Unsworth. You've got Wigan on the February the 27th, Lancaster on the 1st of March, York on the 4th of March, and Liverpool on the 8th of March. Keep supporting live music, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Till next time, peace.